Hey everybody, it's your buddy Eric, and I am here to talk about the Vintage ban and restriction update. Because as Vintage's number one fan of restrictions, you know I am happy about this. Alright, first let's talk about this piece of shit, Vexing Bauble. I'm kind of surprised it went this early, but I'm not surprised it went at all. Kind of follows the chain of vapor, mental misstep kind of logic, I feel like. Just like, it didn't make for fun Magic gameplay, and basically like it just made the play draw differential a little bit weird. And I'm glad to see it down to one. I mean, I did not expect this, but I didn't expect anything changes wise, so I'm kind of happy to see this gone. It just doesn't lead to fun games of people playing Magic, so down to one is very happy for me. Now, of course, if there's just one copy, then like what the hell does that matter, right? Because of But luckily, they restricted Urza Saga, which I'm so happy that they actually got rid of. I really am. Now, Urza Saga is a hell of a fucking Magic card, and anyone who knows me knows that I have not liked this card since the day it came out. And there's been a lot of feelings about this one because people started to feel like it was a pillar of the format, and honestly, it really fits into that kind of thing. Magic is a game of five colors, but three is a huge number in that, right? Black Lotus, 3 mana. Dark Ritual, 3 mana. Mishra's Worship, 3 mana. You know, Ancestral Recall draws you 3 cards. And even when you go to taking turns, at the end of a match, right? It starts on turn 0, so each player gets 3 turns to win, generally speaking. But I really felt that Urza Saga was making the format so stale. People really disagree with that, but even I would just talk to so many players here in Japan. I can't speak for other countries, obviously, but like even people who played Saga decks every single tournament were just not happy. They were just like, "This, yeah, I won because of Saga. It just didn't feel good. It never felt good." And yes, Saga had its weaknesses, obviously. Most threats do in the game, but the problem was is that threats are always more powerful than answers, right? Like this is why we can live with 4 Wasteland, we can live with 4 Force of Will, because they will never win you a game. They don't win you games. They can be a part of you winning the game, but they're not going to win you the game. Saga on its own wins games. That's what it was. It was just like you could just lead on Saga and Mox and just sit there, and like you have Force of Will, like now you're predicting it, right? And like, okay, they wastelanded you, cool. Now you have their colored mana for your ancestral. Now you have your stuff like that. It really led to an improper balance in the gameplay. And it's completely focused on how many sagas you drew. And putting it down to one really helps the format, I really do feel like. Um, it's going to lead to less um, Time Vault wins, quote unquote wins. And I think it actually really relates a lot to the whole Nadu situation. If you haven't followed Nadu in Modern, I didn't know a whole bunch of it until I watched a 50-minute turn, not match, 50-minute turn in a recent tournament. And this is because, in paper, as opposed to MO, in paper, there was no reason to play Thassa's Oracle. In the MO version of the deck in Modern, you'd play Thassa's Oracle because you had a time limit and you wanted to win the game, and you didn't have all the time to do all the clicking and the moves. So you play Thassa's Oracle and you win the game. Um, and that was your actual win condition. Now, some people argue about win conditions and all that stuff. That's fine, but let's put this: Saga was your mana, your creatures for your win condition, and your search to fix your mana or interrupt your opponent's plan via Pithing Needle or you know Grafdigger's Cage or any of the various 1 or 0 mana drop cards you could get from it. So ultimately, it was everything in one card. The 3 things going back to that, right? It was your land drop for your mana for the turn. It was your creatures, which is ultimately, I think, the problem that I have with it. Being able to make 2 creatures out of it. Honestly, if you could have just only made 1 construct out of it, I don't know would have gotten this gross, but that's another story for another time. And just, searching up Lotus or any pieces of hate that were perfect for the moment or key for Vault Key just was too consistent. And it was just really making, I think, vintage stale. I know people really liked it, and that's fine. You could really like it, but I'm confident to say that I know many people who are just like, even winning with Saga was just like, yeah, this is just getting boring. And so we're going to be changing a lot. There'll be a lot of changes coming to vintage because of this restriction. And some people think it won't be good. Some people, like me, are very excited about this. But we'll see what happens. Now I'm sure people will be like, well, you're a Doomsday player, you don't care, restrict Doomsday. I mean, go ahead. Like, like if Doomsday was, number wise being played as much as the Lara Saga decks were, and it had the same win rate, yeah, restrict Doomsday, like, but we just, if you see any Doomsday things, like the Doomsday has up and down weeks, and just Saga decks of very variety, too much, it was too much. If too many decks, I would have really expected to see Lorien revealed be restricted. I think that would have been a nicer start to this, because I think Lorien revealed really pushed the Lara Saga decks in a way, and I thought honestly that's what they were going to do if they were going to do anything. Again, I was expecting no changes, but Lorien reveal restricted, right? A Lorien reveal restriction would have made, would have made sense. It would have put a little bit of a struggle for the mana base of the decks, and that would have made it harder for these, especially now with Psychic Frog being a big part of these blue black decks. Lorien Revealed being restricted would have really crunched it, but they would have probably again just gone back to being more all in on Saga. So I think Saga going, I'm not gonna be sad about that. If it comes back, it'll come back, right? Like we can always unrestrict. That's the beautiful thing about the restriction list. But right now, I'm really optimistic about vintage and just like being able to play and have fun with like not going up. They had 3 sagas in a row. I had answers for the first 2 constructs, but not for the 8th and 9th. So I'm rambling at this point, but I'm excited. I'm really excited, and I think ultimately this is the best because Saga did too much for one card in Magic the Gathering, and that puts it on a pedestal with the other cards that are restricted in the format, and rightfully so. Saga, it was too good. It's restricted, and that's where it should be. So anyway, thank you all very much for watching, and have a lovely day.